वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Hari Om. The chapter self-analysis is moving to the next topic. Yourself is supreme reality. Now, the previous one he was explaining the problem of humanity is they don't look within. Now he is explaining why we are not looking within. Why we don't look within is because we are looking outside. Why you are looking outside? Why you are looking unto the world is because you do see the world and get fascinated, enchanted by what the world gives you, by the pleasures that is offered by the world. You get enchanted by that. You get involved in this. Since you are involved in the pursuit of the world, you don't look within. Now then he starts reasoning. This is where the problem is. The world goes on, the masters go on saying, the scriptures goes on saying, there is no pleasure in the world, there is no happiness in the world. But still we keep. Why? Is because our experiences show something else. And wherever there is a clash between what we experience and what the masters are saying, we would discount what the masters say and accept only what our experience is. For every one of us, ultimate authority is your experience. Our experience is our ultimate authority. I eat a chocolate, I get a joy. Now, of course, every one of us understand. It's not that no one in this world believes world doesn't give sorrow. Isn't it? Is there any one of us believe? Sir, there is no sorrow at all in the world. There is only joy in the world. No normal person believes that. Every one of us say what? Sir, there is problem also in the world and there is joy also in the world. Now, none of us are going to be believing that there is no world gives sorrow also. When the world is giving sorrow also, joy also. This is our experience. But the masters say there is no joy in the world at all. And there is no happiness in the world at all. Which is not our experience. Our experience is the world gives some joy, gives this sorrow also. So what are we going to do? Ultimately, we follow what our experience is. Why? We say, yeah, of course we have to give sorrow also. But world gives pleasure, no. Then why are you pursuing the world? When it is giving sorrow, why are you pursuing the world? Because we know not what else to do. The answer is very simple. What else to do? Then why are you going? Now what is the option I have? Do I have an option? Because we are not looking within. We are looking constantly outside. Okay. When you're looking outside only, then you have only one option. What is the option? Pursue the world. Whether the world is giving sorrow or the world is giving joy, doesn't make any difference. Lack of alternative forces us to pursue only the world. Now, where Vedanta comes, where this masters come in our life, is to show us that no man, there is no necessity that you have to be pursuing only the world. There is an alternative. The problem is very difficult for us to take that as an alternative. Why we are not able to take that as an alternative? Because we are totally involved in the pursuit of the world. Why you are involved in the pursuit of the world? Why the world is looking so fascinated, so enchanted, so beautiful? Like Mullah Azruddin, he used to, he had the habit of taking off. He will stay in his house and then suddenly he will go into his farmhouse, far away. He will go there to the farmhouse. He will stay there for a few days. Sometimes he will stay for a few weeks. Sometimes he will stay there for a few months also. Will not come back. And then he'll come back. He will stay with his wife for some days. And then again he will stay for a few days. For no reason, not that he is doing some work, nothing. He will simply pack his bags and leave. So his friends asked him, what is the logic? Because you claim to be doing everything logically. Recent. We don't see any pattern. There is no pattern at all. It's all random. What is the logic of you? On what basis you decide to go there? On what basis you decide to come back? He says, yeah. I'll tell you how I decide to come back first. Yes. What is the decision, sir? I go there. In that farmhouse, there is no one. There is only one helper for me. Right. She comes, she cleans, she takes care of all the work, and then she cooks for me and she leaves. Okay. Now what? The day she starts looking beautiful to me, I leave. I come home. I see my wife so beautiful for some time. After that, what do I do, sir? After 2-3 days, that beautiful wife starts looking ugly. What do I do? I go to farm. This is exactly what all of us do. We run towards the world. When the world starts throwing sorrow at you, what do? Run in the opposite direction. What is opposite direction? God. You run towards God. Oh God, please take care. What is this problem is there? That problem is there. All my sorrow. What are you doing? Don't you have eyes? Don't you have ears? You are supposed to be a person who is having 1,000 eyes. All that, what had happened? Useless. You start blaming God there. Because why he is not giving? And then what do? Run towards world. And world starts giving you pain. Then what do? Run towards God. All your life, what are you doing? Is running up and down. This running up and down happening, and what is driving that fascination? What defines the fascination is the strength of your desires. This is what most of us don't recognize. The strength of your desire. The world starts fascinating to you. The world starts giving pleasure to you, appearing to be giving pleasure to you. All this is in connection to what? It is in connection to the desire. Because you have strong desires towards the world, you run towards the world. There's no other reason. You are fascinated, he says. You are enchanted by the fascinations of the external world. What is that is making you enchanted? The first day I go and see that servant is not looking beautiful. After 10 days, what happens? Suddenly that same person starts looking beautiful. Why? From where that comes? It's not in the person. See, then from where is it? That I don't know. But I do see it. All that we do is what? We reject this and go and pursue the next desire. We say, oh yeah, this is not the person. Now what? I'm going to pursue that. After some point of time, that also gives problem. Then what you do? Pursue something else. After that, what you do? Pursue something else. Pursue something. Right through your life, what has been doing, sir? Just pursuing desire, 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 desire. It is the strength, it's the power, it's the intensity of the desire makes you believe the world is enchanting. That enchantment world is not inherent in the world. The masters can go on saying it, but we will never go. Why? My experience, man. I see it. I can see very clearly. You see, before that cigarette, agitation. After the cigarette, pleasure. Before the cigarette, I was miserable. After the cigarette, so happy. Therefore, happiness is there. As simple as that. Our experience shows it. This is, I take a cigarette and smoke, there is pleasure. Because of that, I continue to go towards cigarette. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I know not any other option. Now, there's a question we have. If all were to look only within and we do not pursue the world, then how can there be technological development and progress? What do you call as technological development? Look at all those fellows who have contributed for the technological developments. All those fellows have looked within. We are all consumers of technology. That's about it. We are not the producers. We are all consumers. You consume. That's about it. Those who are actually contributing, look at that. Number one. Number two, when we say we have to look within, when we say you are looking for, you got to fill in the blanks. You can't take it for granted. I am looking. You're looking for what? What are you looking? You search. Searching for what? We ask, isn't it? Now here the context is, we say you are searching. I am searching for what you want the technological development. What was the undercurrent of technological development? For what you want to grow technologically? What is the belief? With technology, what is going to happen? Progress. Progress means what? Again, progress means what? Moving from one position to another position is what you call as progress. Question is, can you call that as a progress first of all? Your great-grandfather lived in a village. Your grandfather came to town. Your father came to city. Now you have gone abroad. Your great-grandfather were going by walk. Your grandfather had a bullock cart. Your father moved with a bicycle. And now you are moving with car, expecting your son to move with the private jet, aeroplane. You call this progress. You're moving towards what? Define that. Without you defining that, we cannot call something as progress. For example, I am moving. My car is moving so fast. It's going. I've been traveling for the last 4.5 hours. I traveled. I've gone far away. I've gone so close to Chennai. But the question is, do I want to go to Chennai or do I want to go to Bombay? Thinking that I am reaching Bombay, I am traveling in the direction of Chennai. You call that as I have progressed, or we call that as regression. Is it progression or regression? Now here the context is this. Now that doesn't mean Vedanta says there should not be any development in the world. But don't believe that making something better in the world is not going to give you what you are expecting out of that. What is it that I expected to happen? Once I get a car, what is it that I expect to happen in my life? Doesn't matter whether you get a car, you don't get a car. The question is what? I'm striving to get a car. I may achieve, I may not achieve. That is an independent one. The point is, I want to get a car. Right, which is what we can call it as progress. Technological development, 99.9% of humanity don't contribute. Right? How many people are there working actually for the development of the vaccine? Put together. You can't say the peon working there is also contributing now. You see, the lift boy who is working in that building is also contributing, sir. But his contribution is not for the technological development. He is not developing anything. How many are actually developing? Very minuscule. Who are they? Now the question is, go one step backwards. This step back is what is known as looking within. That thought is there. That goal is there. What is the goal? We wanted to make our life more smoother. What is? About 200 years back, washing clothes is what? Such a complicated job. Washing clothes. You have to take water. You have to take all the clothes to the riverside. And then the river you got to wash it, dry, bring it back. You can't just leave it and come back because again you have to walk for another 1 kilometer. So what they do is they tie there and allow them to dry, then fold it, bring it back. 3.5 hours will take just to wash clothes. Then what is to be done? They said, why go all the way? Why can't we bring water into the house? Which was a great technological invention at that point of time. Right? Why can't you bring that river flowing just in the backyard? Then it is easier, which is a technological development. And then they said what? Washing is, too much of it. Get a soap, washing powder, soak it, and then wash. It is so easy, it is so quick, human effort is much, much less. Correct. Then they invented, what is it? The washing machine, called it as semi-automatic. For washing one, drying one. There is no drying initially. Then they brought this. What is it? Again, the human effort is reduced. Now the point is, when they were working on to develop that washing machine, working on to develop that soap, working on to develop that irrigation methodology to bring that river water next to your house, all that is technology only. You can't say technology is only our computer, right? Everything is a technology only. In and through all those things, what was expected to achieve? To make human life simpler. Simpler means what? What does it mean? It is strenuous, painful, sorrowful. To go all the way, to do all that work is painful job. It is so disturbing, so pain. Now what is it? Make it easier so that I don't have to struggle to do the job. I can do it easily. So my pleasure of working becomes more. This is what is expected to happen. What Vedanta is asking is, look within. Look within that effort. When he says look within, what is looking within, sir? Not immediately looking inside. Immediately all of us think, I have to look inside me. They say, that is correct. But look into that effort of yours. Look into that desire of yours. Look into the agenda. Look into the goal of yours. Look within that goal. Within that goal, what are you expecting to achieve? Through the fulfillment of your desire, what do you expect to achieve? Do we do that? If you do that, your job is done. The problem is we cannot do it. That's what he's explaining here. That's exactly what he's explaining. He says, why we are not able to do it? Because the development itself, the fulfillment of that desire itself appears so fascinating. Now, what is that fascination? He will explain further. Right? First thing he says, there is a contradiction between what the scriptures are saying, what the masters are saying, and what we are experiencing. Wherever there is a clash between the two, we will go by our experience, we will not take there. That's the rule. Isn't it? That's why we say, no, I saw. Yeah, I've seen it, yeah. Now what are you talking? Hey, that, food in that hotel is not good. Who says? Fantastic food. You recommend also that to others. Why? I have tasted it. I know. I have seen. I have experienced it. What does our experience show? Our experience shows the moment I contact the world, what does happen to me? He says, you do experience the joy. when your senses contact the world, sense objects, the sense organs contacts the respective sense object, there is a joy experienced by you. You can't deny that. No one can deny it. Right? You have a chocolate, it is pleasure. You have a mango, there is pleasure. Now, how can you deny there is no pleasure in that mango? You cannot deny it. Now, what are you going to do? He says. Yes. Sorry, that intelligent people argue. Now, what intelligence? Yes. What is that intelligence argument? My sense organs enjoy the sense objects. Therefore, what is it? They are convinced. They perceive it. They see it. Now, no one can deny it. Now, Vedanta says, okay, I acknowledge your experience. I am not contradicting your experience. I acknowledge it. But then it guides us. It requests us, it directs us to examine your experience. That ability in us to probe, to examine our experience is called looking within. It's called introversion. I do experience, correct. There's no doubt about it. But do you examine that? Vedanta is not going to compromise. Vedanta is not going to change anything. It says, think carefully. There is a pleasure. No one can deny there is no there. Correct. You have that pleasure? No. Yes. Now, examine the pleasure that you are experiencing there. Is it there actually? When you closely examine, you will come to a staggering realization that it is not there. But you need to closely observe it. Follow this portion carefully. Right? A difficult one to understand. Difficult in the sense not in terms of understanding, because it is contradicting to our belief. Therefore, it is difficult. That's about it. Otherwise, there's no difficulty here. It's a very simple one. And to explain that, he gives a fascinating example. Yes, a few classic examples. He says, there is a friend of yours, naive villager, very innocent, very ignorant, doesn't understand anything in life. He doesn't have a knowledge of science. He is not educated. He is so innocent and so illiterate. He comes to your house and you wanted to entertain him because he is your friend. So to entertain him, you say, let's have a party. Let's go out. And you take him out. And dinner you take and you go to the countryside, village, right, outskirts, far away from the traffic, noise, pollution of the city. You and your friend were sitting and chatting in the lawn. There's no lights. Both of you are sitting there and enjoying the full moon light. And your wife is preparing the barbecue. She's bringing that smoking barbecue. She's preparing and she's bringing that, you're having it. enjoying and saying, fantastic, sir, it is so nice. It is really good. As you are having that, you look up and say, do you see that, my dear friend? He sees, yes, what is it? Moon. Full moon. Beautiful, no? He says, yeah, beautiful. And it is so big. Yeah, it's so big. Shall I tell you one thing? Yes, what? There is no light in the moon. You're telling your friend, there's no light in the moon. And the friend will look at you as what? He says what? Correct. I have been told in my village, those who study, come outside the village, and study, all go off. Can't you see that coming? And in fact, you are looking at me, I'm looking at you, you are saying that beautiful moon, all that you said. After that, you are saying what? There is no light. How can you say there is no light coming from the? You can see that light coming from there. After seeing it, how can you deny there is no light in the moon? But still the fact remains what? There is no light in the moon. That's an unbelievable one. Yes. It's exactly the same thing. Our experience is what? Our experience is there is pleasure in the world. You can't deny it. Exactly like that, these masters are coming and telling us there is no pleasure in the sense objects. There's no pleasure there. It's not there. Then from where it is coming? That's why this example is outstanding. They only reflect. The light that you are experiencing coming from the moon is coming from the moon, but it is not of the moon. It is from there, correct? The light is not of the moon. Then the light is of whose? It's the sun. It's the sun light is reflected. All the light that we see is a reflected light. But unfortunately, the problem is we don't see the sun light coming to the moon and then moonlight coming to earth. All of us see only what? Moonlight coming towards the earth. That we see. We don't see that. Villager doesn't see that. Imagine the villager were to see the sunlight hitting the moon and then the moonlight coming towards the earth. Then he would also say, yeah, correct. Moon is not having any light. It is sunlight is going there and that is coming here. But unfortunately, we don't see it. Exactly same way, the pleasure, that joy, that happiness that we are experiencing from the sense organs contacting the sense objects is not from there. Then from where it is coming? From where it is coming? Exactly the same question is what that villager also asks. Your friend also asks. What is it? From where that light is coming? You are telling sunlight is coming. And he asks, where is sun? You don't see sun anywhere. That's why Mullah again, somebody asked him, who is more important, sun important or moon important? He said, moon is more valuable than sun. Why? Because moon gives light in the night. Who gives light in the night is important? No. Who is giving daytime, he gives light, what's the point? It's a useless one, it says. Like that. Our argument is what? Sir, we don't see the link between sun and moon that friend cannot see. exactly same way, we also can't see the link between the self and the sense objects. That link, we don't see it. That is why we go on arguing. Exactly like that villager, he will not accept. You can try. Finally, he will say what? If at all he says yes, 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 he is just saying it for the courtesy sake. That's it. Or he just says out of what? Yeah, people say you are all educated people. If you say it must be correct. Maximum, if at all he says purely based on trusting you. That's about it. It's a blind trust. There's no meaning to it. Exactly same way, we also go on saying, yeah, there is no happiness in the world. Why? Because Vedanta says. Because some scripture says. Some textbook says. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Therefore what? There is no pleasure in the world. There is no joy. There is no meaning to it. Why? You are not understood. That's why this example is beautiful. It says that moon, any joy that is possible, light is possible only from sun. Happiness is possible only from the self. There is no second thought on that. That is impossible for us to conceive. Exactly like that villager cannot conceive it. Any joy, when you see the light, you don't see the sun. You are enjoying the moon. Now, what is he saying is, when you are enjoying the moonlight, it's not that you are not enjoying the moonlight. You are also enjoying the moonlight. But you are grateful to the sun. You see, your gratitude is there towards the sunlight, towards the sun. Because if that sun is not there, moon is nothing. You see, moon by itself cannot give. So when you are enjoying this, you have to be grateful, you should be thankful, you should recognize the presence of the sun even though it is not perceptible. That is what we call as buddhi. The capacity to see something which is not obvious. To see that, you don't require buddhi. That's why he says the intelligent fellows, intelligentsia. When he says intelligentsia, it's a satire one actually. It's not being, actually he says, yeah, they are brilliant fellows. All Brihaspati. It's a satire. He's making a joke of us. Exactly like that brilliant village friend of yours. He says what? Can't you see, Buddhu, light is coming. You are saying there's no light. Now the beauty here is this. Now we are going to philosophy. So far there's no philosophy. Okay. Philosophy is only from now on. First step is what? You see the moonlight, you know there is no light in the moon. Similarly, there is no joy in the world. This is what he says. Rest of it, he leaves it for us to derive. You see, now hardly people go into that aspect. That is what I was referring to in the previous class, last class. Reflection. The reflection, unless you reflect on that example, what is he saying? What is this meaning here? It is coming. The light that you see is reflected light. Yeah, correct. Reflected light. Similarly, self-reflected through the sense objects and deriving the joy. So the joy belongs to what? Light belongs to whom? Sun. What is interesting is here is what? We don't get that conviction. Exactly like the village friend doesn't get that conviction that there is no light. If at all he appears to be, that is what? It's just a superficial one. He will go back and say what? I thought he will go back to the village and tell all others, hey, you went to the city, you met that fellow, what is he? I thought Ishwaran is taking classes, so he will be brilliant. After going there, only understood what a Buddhu he was. Now, what a Buddhu he is. Not was. He is. Still, when he was in village, he was like that. Now he has gone to Bangalore. He has become worse, actually. You know what? He'll be cracking joke on me. To all of them there. Why? You know what he was saying? All of you see that? He will also show. This fellow says, there's no light on. There's no light in the moon, that fellow says. He's a pagal fellow. Same thing is what we also mock at these masters. Why we do it, sir? Because you don't see the link. When you see the link, what will happen? Now comes the second stage, second layer of understanding. This is the first layer. What is it? It's not there. Then the next step is what? Sun is what is giving it. But the problem is what? We don't see the sun. Okay. Now, how is it that moon is able to reflect it? Sunlight is everywhere. Okay. But only the moon is able to reflect. Why the moon is able to reflect that sunlight? And when that sunlight comes through the moon, it comes so soothing, so cooling it is. It is so cooling, it is so beautiful. No doubt, there is pleasure in the world. Vedanta doesn't deny that. A lot of people think Vedanta denies there is no pleasure in the world when they say, therefore what? No point in contacting this, don't eat chocolate, don't do this, don't do that. This is a complete misunderstanding we have got in the name of spiritual. Because of this misunderstanding. When they said there is no pleasure in the world, what was meant is, it is not stemming from there. It's not generated there. He's only a supplier, producer. It doesn't belong to him. It's exactly like the courier boy coming and delivering. He just delivers. That's about it. Money order. No? Postman those days would come with money order. He'll come with a money order and give you that money also. 1,000 to 500 rupees was given to you. He comes and gives the 1,500 rupees. Money order. To whom you are grateful? You are receiving that money from whom? You are receiving that money from the postman. But the money is not coming from the postman. Money is coming from whom? Someone else. Your father had sent it. The postman is not giving that. The money is given by the father. He had sent. So to whom you should be grateful? That doesn't mean you are ungrateful, you reject the postman. That's not what is meant. That's what most of us think. You think Vedanta immediately takes. That's why the question was asked. Will it not hinder our progress? Will you not kick that postman out? No, you are grateful to the postman. If you have 1 unit of gratitude towards the postman who delivers the 1,500 rupees, what should be the gratitude proportion you should have towards your father who had sent that money to you? He delivered. He gave that. How much you should be feeling for him? Now Vedanta asks only that question here. If you are grateful towards the moon to be giving that light, which is not of his. If you are grateful to moon X, your gratitude towards sun should be how much? Shouldn't that be X plus? What we do is we reject, we deny, we conveniently ignore the Father, the Son. I meant SU. You reject it. You conveniently be oblivious to the self, who is the actual source of joy. But the problem is what? You can't derive that joy from that sun directly. You can't derive that joy from the self directly. You are able to see that joy. You are able to see it only through the sense object. But it is not there. But you believe it is there. Therefore, what you do? You go closer and closer and closer. You see that moonlight standing on the surface of earth. You see that moonlight coming. Wow, beautiful. So what you do? Go closer and closer and closer. And the catch he gives is this line. One of the fascinating line he gives. When you get close and actually encounter it, you become disillusioned. You are lost completely, he says. Yeah. When you go closer. Why? Because you see the light coming from there, you see the joy coming from that sense object. So what you will do, obviously, you will go towards it. When you go closer and closer and closer, when you keep contacting it again and again and again, what happens? He says, you get disillusioned. You get totally disappointed. And that disappointment is not because of the sense object. Then you start blaming the sense object. Hey, that is due to me. That has really fooled me. The world is not trustworthy. You start denying the world. You start criticizing the world. You start feeling let down. I thought it will be like that, but it's not like that. That's why the person looks so beautiful before marriage. You see, that's what Byron said. As soon as he got married, he came out. First statement of his, now that I'm married to you, is enough to hate you, he says. It's a low marriage. Yes. Now that I'm married to you, is enough to hate you. Why? That's what we all believe. See, before that, he was not like that, Before and all, one phone call from me is enough. He will immediately take the call. Now, 10 phone calls I make, he doesn't even return the call now. That's why these people send, WhatsApp messages. And then they said, he has seen the message, sir. I asked him earlier. I didn't know this earlier. So I asked him, how do you know he had seen? You see the blue tick? I said, yes. If the tick comes as blue, that means he had seen it. Oh. And then he told me, what is 2 ticks there? What is it? Message delivered. 1 tick, message sent. So first tick comes means what? Message sent. Second tick comes means what? Message delivered. Third, when it changes, that means what? Message viewed. He had seen it, but still he is not. He was not like that earlier. She was such an angel before. Now she is what? This Rakshasi. She's a Rakshasa now. Earlier she was such an angel. Now is a problem. They were not like this earlier. Now it is like this. First I thought, buying a house in this place is going to be a pleasure. One fellow was telling me this. Big house, he built like a solid house. Everyone who went to the house were, praising him. Oh, what a superb one, man. Beautiful house, beautiful house. Second year I go there, he says, such a pain, Ishvara. I don't know why I built a house such a big one. Why I built a house like? Why? Uh, Now what he has done now, he has shifted to a smaller house and given this house for rent. A double bedroom is enough for me. One for me, one for wife. I said, no, double bedroom for what? He said, one for me, one for my wife. Amazing, yeah. Till you get something, till you encounter, isn't it? Very simple. The sari that you saw in the shop, the sari, same sari you bring home, you wear it. There is no same value. Value gone. Till you go closer, any object, anything in the world looks beautiful, including Ishwaran. What is it? You meet me only once a week. This is what? 1.5 hours maximum. 1 hour you meet. That's about it. Rest of the 167 hours you got to live with me. That's why my wife gets really confused. Says, how people keep listening to you. And some of them, if they miss a class, they send a message stating what? They missed a class. So can you send this, recording? See, such a joy. You people think it is such a pleasure to be with Ishwaran. You come closer, then you will know. See, that's why it is. That's why you go from here to Rishikesh. It looks such a fantastic place. All the villages, there's all the city fellows, apartment guys, they say, village, you go there, superb, sir. You stay there for 1 month, you will know. How, tough fellows are there in villages. Not easy to live. Those who live in villages will know. Almost impossible. One car that goes inside and comes out, everyone in the village will know to whose house they have come, for what they have come, what had happened, why it is going. There is no such thing called privacy in village. Impossible. You can't have a private life. Completely gone. Everyone will interfere for everything. How can you live? The apartment when you are living, what? You don't even have to know your neighbor. I've been living here for the last about 3 years. I don't know anyone, no one knows me also. On the road, even if we meet each other, we will not know. We belong to the same apartment. That's how we live. Now, when we go to village, it looks so fantastic. That's what we say. The green is greener. No, they say no, opposite. Some saying there is in English, beautiful one. They say it's greener on the other side. Yeah. Correct. It's green on the other side. Where? When you are at a distance. When you go closer. But the problem, you know what? When you see that object is giving you pleasure, it is impossible for you to resist the temptation of going towards it, reaching to it again and again. When you reach to it, what happens? He says, you get disillusioned. That's why we see all these wealthy people. They say there's no pleasure in wealth. It's a pain. Wealth is a pain. Name, fame. You get a fame. It is a pain. From a distance, it looks what? Fantastic. It is such a pleasure to have. What a joy to have that fame. Everybody is talking about you. Everyone is day. Now the subscription has gone more than 10,000. 50,000 subscriptions are there for Vedanta. What a pleasure. Wow. It's been 50,000 people. What? Okay. 5 lakh watch. That is far, far more. There are 50 lakhs watching. How is it? Such a wow is what you think. When you are in 500. When you are having 50 fellows watching, you won't think of 50 lakhs. That is a different thing. But when you are having there, you believe what? If you had to have 50 lakhs, such a fantastic one. Once you get there, what happens? You get totally disillusioned. What? There is no pleasure at all. And the tragedy is the price that you have paid to travel towards from Earth to Moon all goes waste. When it gets wasted completely, you get far more frustrated. You are willing to pay the price. You are willing to travel towards the moon only because you are able to see the light. Imagine how beautiful it must be on the moon to stand there and see. Fantastic. Let's go there. You go. You land there. And what do you see? Nothing. In that, there is a secret. In that, the next layer of truth gets revealed. What is that, sir? The moon is able to reflect because the moon has nothing in it. Since the moon has nothing in it, it becomes the medium to reflect the sunlight. Similarly, if you have to reflect the joy in you, what you should become then? You should become nothing. You should become empty. You should become the medium to get reflected. Otherwise, there is no reflection. You should be a medium for that. Are you a medium? That is what Vedanta teaches. That is what this masters teaches. It makes you the reflective medium. Then what? Faithfully you reflect the truth. Like mirror. Mirror reflects. Why? Because mirror has no image to itself. If the mirror were to have an image of its own, it cannot reflect anything. Then it becomes a photograph. It's not a mirror. What is the face the mirror has? The mirror has no face. Since the mirror has no face, it can reflect. Similarly, you can reflect the joy. You can radiate the pleasure, that happiness, the bliss of the self, only if you transform yourself into a medium. What is transforming yourself to a medium, sir? Mirror. What is a mirror? Mirror has nothing. That is where that pure, sweet music comes out of the lips of Krishna. What does he carry, sir? Flute. What is a flute cast? Nothing. Both sides whole. Amazing it is to see the flute, is nothing. It is hollow. This side is also hollow, that side is. In between also what? All holes. It is there. It's nothing. Out of that nothing gets the exquisite music of life from Krishna. But unfortunately, most of our none of us get into that state where I have to become nothing. What is that nothing, sir? Remove all the desires of yours. Polish your personality. Keep polishing, keep polishing, keep polishing. See, it's a question we have. If happiness is so transient in the material world and more permanent in the pursuit of searching for the self, looking inward, introspection, why does the majority of the human race pursue the world materially? Because they don't know it. They don't know. Why? You see only moonlight. You don't see sun. Now what to do now? All darkness. You don't see the sun at all. You don't see the sunlight coming to the moon and moonlight coming towards you. If that is perceived by you, you will not go towards the moon, you will go towards the sun. You don't know that. Ignorance. And to combat that ignorance only, you need that knowledge. But the problem is what? Your experiences against that knowledge given by the teachers, by the masters, which one you will subscribe to? Defines the whole thing. Why they are pursuing? Correct. Very valid. If it is true, then why they are not pursuing? Why we are not doing it, sir? Because we don't see it. And to derive that pleasure, derive that joy, derive that bliss of the self, you need to transform yourself into that medium. A qualified medium you should become. Can you drop it? That's the problem. The majority of the world don't have any problem in not wanting more. Our problem is not that. Remember this. That's our very few. Maybe about 3 to 4% of humanity we will face, who say, I want more, I want more, I want more. Most of you will not be falling into that category. You may say, then where do we fall into, sir? Your problem is not wanting more. Your problem is not wanting to lose whatever you have. You see, your involvement, your renunciation, you can't give that up. That is called emptying yourself. Emptying means you have to carry nothing with you. Drop. Can you drop? That is not possible for us. You see, that is why we start subscribing to the great philosophy of what? Renunciation. Example, all of us are interested to take only Janaka. Nobody wants the renunciation of Sudama. Sudama type renunciation we don't want. Janaka type renunciation only we want. Why? First, let me become king. Okay. Don't ask me to be a pauper. No. Imagine renunciation there to be told to you that you have to go into nothing. So what's the meaning of that, Ishwaran? I say, like Sudama, you should become. How many are there now? There are 40 people sitting today's class. Next class, not even 4 will be there. That 4 also come in because of by mistake. By habit, they got locked in. If I say, you fear of losing. The fear of losing what you have, what is known, what is there with you, what you believe in, to drop, that is the problem for us. The problem is not that, I want more, I want more. Most of us will not fall into the category. Vast humanity falls into the category of, I can't become nothing. Unless you drop that. What is that? That is called desire. You see? That unless you drop that desire, it is not possible for you to shape yourself. There was a great king who had this thought of wanting to decide to select a painter. He wants to paint the walls of the palace, but you want to pick up who is a painter. You want to pick up, select. So finally, they arrived at 2 painters, right? And these 2 painters, they're called, and the king had given 2 walls, right opposite each other. And there was a big screen covered, so that this painter would not know what he is painting, he will not know what he is painting. So they can paint. So both these fellows were put a curtain, and they were given 1 month time for them to paint. They painted, 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 painted. After 1 month, both of them said, "Yes, sir, we have completed our job. Now you can come for inspection." So the king goes and opens the curtain of the first painter. He was flabbergasted to see the entire Mahabharata story, scenes, all important scenes, everything he has painted on that wall. One wall. You just have to scan it. You see entire Mahabharata story. Whole story you can see there. So beautiful it is, so beautiful. So realistic it is. And all the ministers and everyone decided, sir, no need to see the next one. No one can improvise, no one can better than this. This is the ultimate, final. Nothing can be done beyond this. So we can give him the contract. There's no worry. But the king said, oh, let us see what that fellow also has done. Poor fellow has, we made him work for 1 month. Let him see. And they opened the curtain this side. The whole group had a heart attack. What this fellow has done was exactly the same thing he has painted here. But there is a difference. The difference was this painter, one, had painted on the surface, whereas this painter has painted it inside the wall. He has gone into 2 feet inside the wall. He has gone inside and done that entire painting. They couldn't believe their eyes. How can anyone do like that? I can understand. Most of you are confused. What he has done was he was just polishing the rock. Polishing. He polished it to such an extent where the rock has turned into a mirror. So it is standing in front, no, opposite. It's about 2 feet distance. So the entire picture shows inside here. And those people don't know that mirror concept. They don't know it. So they thought this painter was far superior painter. That's what Vedanta says. There are 2 ways of living life. One, painting the wall. Another one, convert the wall into a mirror. It reflects. No need to do anything else, man. Just polish it. Transformation happens. Beautiful example. It's so many layers, it goes. That example. It's an innocuous example he gives, but it has the layeric understanding, which I've been telling you all the time. Every concept in Vedanta has layers. You see, how many layers you are able to go defines your depth in understanding in every concept. So go step by step. So go through this idea. We will have a relook at it in the next class. Thank you.